items today.
It's Dana. That's a new dial in. I accidentally hung up.
Oh, okay. Thank you for identifying yourself.
Except for the directions say *6 instead of *69, and so I was screaming, but I still was muted at *6.
Okay, so we have the 8 members that we were anticipating today. We knew that Mr. Postic was not joining us today.
And Mr. Chair, this is Jennifer. It does appear that we are ready to go at the top of the hour for you.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Okay, looks like it's 9 o'clock. Before we get started, I need to read this brief script. Welcome to the August 6, 2020 meeting of the Riverfront Design Committee. This meeting is being held by video conference. My name is Scott Howard, and I'm the chair of the committee. During the COVID-19 pandemic, no physical location will be provided for the Riverfront Design Committee meeting. The meeting will instead be live streamed from remote locations. We want to request that everyone joining us today, except committee members, keep your microphone or phone muted until you are called on to speak. As instructed in the agenda, those who called or emailed us in advance to let us know your name, contact number, and agenda item you wish to speak about will be recognized first. Before the RDC votes on each item, I will ask if any members of the public wish to speak. Anyone speaking will be given 3 minutes to speak. Since you are muted, when I call on you, please unmute yourself. On a phone, you will press *6 and then state your name and address for the record before you speak. On a desktop or laptop, you will hover your cursor over the microphone icon to remove the diagonal red line. If we lose our connection for this meeting, the meeting shall be stopped and reconvened once the connection is restored. If communications are unable to be restored within 30 minutes, items remaining for consideration will be continued to the next regularly scheduled Riverfront Design Committee meeting on Thursday, September 3rd, 2020 at 9 a.m. by video conference. The agenda and documents are located at https://agenda.okc.gov/sirepub/meet.aspx. You should then select agenda on the right side of the Riverfront Design Committee meeting to see all of the agenda items. Jennifer, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee Member Howard.
Present.
Committee Member Postic. Committee Member Dean.
Present.
Committee Member Dougherty.
Present.
Committee Member Housel. Committee Member Housel. Committee Member Joyce.
Present.
Committee Member Larson.
Present.
Committee Member Templeton.
Present.
Committee Member Torres.
Present.
And one last call for Committee Member Housel. Mr. Chair, you have quorum.
Okay, thank you. Item 2, approval of minutes. And before we make a motion on that, Laura, can you remind me, I think there was something, had Barbara Larson abstained?
Yes, we need to correct the minutes to accurately reflect that Barbara Larson abstained from voting on the June minutes because she was not in attendance. And the copy before you incorrectly shows that she voted yes. So what I'm suggesting is that whoever makes the motion would just make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected to reflect that Barbara Larson abstained from voting on the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Laura. So the chair would entertain a motion.
This
I
is
move
Barbara.
be approved. Sean Joyce, sorry, Barbara.
That's all right. I second then.
And that was, your motion was to approve them as corrected to reflect that vote, correct? The
Yes.
abstention. Okay, gotcha.
Committee Member Joyce, how do you vote on this item?
I vote yes.
Okay, the minutes have been approved. Thank you. Item 3, cases withdrawn, none. Item 4, continuance request, none. Item 5, consent docket, none. Item 6A, SRCA -20-00015 at 1901 Southeast 15th Street. Laura?
Thank you. Laura Griggs, Planning Department. This is another application that we have received from the Crooked Oak Public Schools. They're continuing their expansion. Most recently, we had additions to the middle school and the high school, and a few years ago, they redid the gymnasium. And now they're doing an addition on the grade school. You can see the green square on the screen right now is the location for the grade school. If you go out there, but all the other projects are ongoing, and it's a lot of activity. There really was no issues with this, but since we didn't have anything else on the agenda, I felt that it was appropriate to have it on for actual action by the committee instead of just under consent docket. We do have the superintendent's office, I believe that's April, that's, yes, she's nodding, yeah, she's waving. The superintendent of the school his office is on the call. And I thought the architect was calling in. I'm not sure if he is on the call or not, so they're here to answer questions. But staff is submitting this. It meets all applicable regulations and guidelines. These are the pictures I took the other day, the surrounding area. It is in a industrial area. People don't get out that far. And they have expanded so much that in the lower right, that's actually their offices for the school, and it's across the street. It's out of Scenic River. And I believe their football stadium is offsite as well because they don't have enough room for that. And so Cameron can kind of speed up those and we can get to the drawings that they've submitted for the addition that they're doing. To the grade school is going, these are the pictures that they submitted showing that area. And that's the location of where the addition is going. And you can see where the high school is on the upper right of the screen, and you have the middle school that's down lower, and the gymnasium is to the top of this. So if you don't have any questions for me, I'm sure the superintendent's office is on if you have questions for them, possibly the architect, I'm not really sure. But we're recommending approval because it meets everything that it's supposed to meet. And we did get an agreement on the application from the First Americas Museum because I'm required by ordinance to send all applications to them for comment in this district.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Would the applicant or the applicant's representative like to say anything?
We don't have anything to add at this time unless you have questions. We appreciate everything you guys do there.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? Okay, the chair would entertain a motion.
If I might, just a second. April, could you just identify yourself for the record?
Yes, I'm the encumbrance clerk,
April
Dwyer,
Dwyer. Yes, okay, thank you.
and Superintendent Richards is here too. You just can't see him. He's off the screen.
He's hiding behind your chair.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here as well.
Thank you. Okay, chair would entertain a motion.
This is Gloria, and I'd move approval.
Thank you, Gloria. Do we have a second?
This is Dana Templeton to second.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, everybody.
And John, how do you vote?
I vote in favor of the proposal.
Thank you, John.
Laura, this is Dana Templeton.
Yes,
On my prime.gov, it's got for me to vote, but okay, I got it now. It's even though I was clicking on it, it wasn't going away, but it's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
the motion is approved. Thank you all for attending the meeting today from the applicant's office.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
thank you.
Thanks, April.
Okay, moving on to 7 other business. There is none. Item 8, communications. Laura, did you want to say anything about that, or?
This is someone who leases land from the River Trust. He grazes his cattle on it, and he's just expanding on the north side of the river.
Okay, thank you. Item 8B, comments from planning department staff.
We have a meeting next month. You might recall we continued an item a couple of months ago. And so in addition to that item, which is on South Robinson, we have Wally Post Park came in. And so that's on the agenda. We have an easement closure, possibly a rezoning, and we'll have our meeting scheduled. So I've already heard from one person that can't attend the meeting. So please check your schedules. Because I always like to have a cushion and have more than just our quorum, which is 5. So we are anticipating we're still going to be having our meetings virtually, but if that changes, we will let you know. We don't have any new information at this point.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Item 8C, comments from committee members.
This is John Joyce. I have a couple comments. Laura, do we know yet whether Vicky Van Staveren's thing's going to come back up in front of us, or?
That's the item that was continued. She is scheduled to go to the Board of Adjustment, just like we talked about at that meeting. And so with that in mind, I'm going to need one extra cushion at that meeting, since you would potentially then have a conflict. So I'd need 6 people in attendance so that we don't have an issue with quorum for her item, if that's what you were asking.
Yes. So the Board of Adjustment meeting hasn't occurred yet.
That's correct. The Board of Adjustment meeting is, I believe, the week or 2 weeks before that.
Okay. And then my other comment is, so let's kind of make this real sort of hypothetical, but just kind of having sort of virtually sat in on that meeting, it was kind of like we were talking about certain issues that weren't really for the committee members to discern, and that was a little bit confusing to me, because you know how like typically in your staff report you'll say, well, staff recommendations are not binding and stuff like that. Is it maybe just more that if the legal department sort of makes a finding that is not really for us to question? Would that be a way of thinking of that, or that just kind of confused me? Because the idea that there was this issue that was like, okay, no, we're not going to talk about that because that's not really part of your, as a committee, your purview. That was something I hadn't heard before on many years on this committee.
Laura McDivitt, I'm going to defer to you on this.
Yeah, John, this is Laura McDevitt, and I think if you'd like, I can give you a call after the meeting and we can discuss. I don't want to get too much into the specifics of this since this wasn't actually on the agenda, but we can discuss it.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, John. And as Laura stated, item D, the next meeting date is Thursday, September 3rd, 2020. And I will be the one that will be absent from the meeting that week. So Mr. Postic will be your fearless leader that day. So good luck to John. And with that, unless there's anything else, we'll call this meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, John.